After 60, sleep changes quietly, almost imperceptibly. The deep, restful nights of youth gently fade into lighter, fragmented sleep. Many seniors find themselves awake at an hour once reserved for dreams. But why always around 3 a.m.? Why not midnight or dawn? Have you ever wondered why it's always 3 a.m. and not 1 or 5? There's a quiet biological secret behind this hour. We'll uncover it together. This isn't coincidence. It's your body's gentle yet insistent signal, whispering truths often overlooked. Together, let's quietly explore why 3 a.m. has become the hour of silent awakenings. Section 1. Stress hormone, cortisol spikes, Henry's silent alarm. Henry, 71, woke precisely at 3:03 a.m., his heart gently racing beneath the stillness of his bedsheets. The room was dark and cool, but his mind buzzed like a quiet storm. No noise, no clear danger. Just the deep, persistent hum of unease threading through his body. He sat up, staring at the faint glow of the alarm clock, wondering if this sudden wakefulness was just part of growing old or something more unsettling. Every night, almost like clockwork, 3 a.m. claimed him. And every night, he felt smaller beneath the weight of questions without answers. What Henry didn't know was that his body wasn't betraying him. It was protecting him quietly, fiercely. Cortisol, the body's main stress hormone, naturally begins to rise between 2 o'clock and 4 a.m., preparing us for the day ahead. In younger years, this surge is gentle, unnoticed. But after 60, the body's sensitivity to cortisol often increases. Even the slightest hormonal ripple can feel like a wave, stirring restlessness, raising the heart rate, and sharpening awareness. When Dr. Ellis sat with Henry and explained this delicate rhythm, a quiet relief softened Henry's tightly drawn shoulders. "It's not weakness," Dr. Ellis said kindly. "It's your body reminding you that it still stands guard, even while you sleep." Henry learned that gentle breathing exercises before bed, deep inhales, slow exhales, and quiet calming routines could soothe the cortisol tide before it rose. Over time, the nights grew longer, the awakenings fewer. He reclaimed the quiet darkness for dreams, not doubt. Have you ever felt the silent pull of 3 a.m.? Follow us to discover the quiet wisdom of aging. Share this story with someone who needs it. Comment below. What quiet signals has your body sent you lately? Sign 2. Blood sugar drops, hypoglycemia, Margaret's silent hunger. Margaret, 73, found herself waking at 3:15 a.m., the edges of her mind blurred by a soft fog of dizziness and faint hunger. She would sit on the edge of her bed, disoriented, heart fluttering quietly as her body struggled for balance. It seemed harmless at first, an inconvenience easily shrugged off. But as the awakenings became nightly rituals, her energy drained away quietly, leaving her days dull and brittle. Dr. Ellis gently explained, "As we age, our bodies handle glucose less efficiently. Dinner eaten hours earlier was long gone, and Margaret's blood sugar dipped silently in the early morning hours. Hypoglycemia in older adults isn't always dramatic. It can feel like subtle confusion, mild nausea, or an invisible tug at awareness. Yet left unaddressed, it gently wears down the body's reserves, increasing vulnerability to falls, memory lapses, and cardiovascular stress." A simple shift helped Margaret, a small, balanced evening snack protein paired with gentle carbohydrates. A handful of almonds and a slice of whole grain toast. A quiet intervention for a noisy problem. Within weeks, the night's pull loosened. Margaret's mornings became lighter, her mind clearer, her spirit quietly lifted. Sometimes healing whispers through the smallest changes. And sometimes the body's silent hunger simply asks to be heard. Sign 3. Dehydration effects, Eleanor's gentle thirst. Eleanor, 78, stirred awake at 3:20 a.m., her mouth parched, her thoughts floating somewhere between dream and wakefulness. She would lie still, feeling the dry pull against her throat, a subtle dizziness circling her mind. She hadn't thought much of it. After all, thirst was something to be handled in the daytime, right? But aging gently rewrites the body's signals. After 60, thirst perception diminishes, even when hydration needs increase. The body, quietly struggling without enough water, disrupts sleep in gentle but persistent ways. Dehydration affects blood pressure regulation, body temperature, and brain function, especially during the delicate overnight hours. When Dr. Ellis met Eleanor, he explained something quietly profound. At 3 a.m., the body speaks of what it lacked all day. A simple change began. Eleanor carried a small water bottle through her afternoons. She sipped without forcing. A few mindful glasses, no floods, just presence. Within days, the dry waking softened, sleep deepened, dreams returned, and with it came the answer to a quiet mystery. Often, waking at 3 a.m. isn't random. It's hydration, stress, or blood sugar speaking softly, not crises. Just whispered needs, waiting to be heard. Sign 4. Heart irregularities, atrial fibrillation anxiety. Thomas's silent fear. Thomas, 74, would jolt awake at 3:10 a.m., his chest whispering a strange, unsteady rhythm. The room felt heavier in those early hours, his breath catching in tiny, uncertain waves. At first, he blamed dreams or stress or the creeping fear of aging itself. But deep down, he knew these heart flutters were different. Dr. Ellis explained gently, the human heart, aging with quiet dignity, sometimes stumbles at night. Atrial fibrillation, common in older adults, often stirs during sleep. The body, vulnerable and alert, senses these irregular rhythms even before full consciousness returns. Thomas learned that his sensations weren't imaginary. They were real, but not always catastrophic. Monitoring, medical management, and a compassionate understanding of his heart's quiet signals gave him peace. He adopted gentler nighttime routines, no heavy meals late, calming stretches before bed, soft breathing to ease tension. The heart speaks softly, sometimes in skip beats and fragile pulses, but when listened to kindly, it teaches resilience, not fear. Thomas found that, by greeting his body's whispers with patience rather than panic, his nights slowly became quieter, his heart stronger. Sign 5. Chronic pain and inflammation, Gloria's silent ache. Gloria, 76, stirred awake at 3:25 a.m., a dull ache threading its way through her knees and hips. She shifted in bed, seeking comfort, but the pain clung stubbornly like a shadow unwilling to be dismissed. For a time, Gloria blamed her aging bones, resigning herself to the idea that pain was simply the price of time. But Dr. Ellis knew better, and so did the research. Chronic low-grade inflammation often intensifies overnight when circulation slows and the body's defenses shift focus to internal repair. Pain isn't always loud. Sometimes it hums quietly, undermining sleep, stealing energy bit by bit, softening resilience without ever shouting its name. Dr. Ellis introduced Gloria to a gentler evening ritual. Anti-inflammatory foods like berries, leafy greens, and turmeric. Light stretching to ease joint stiffness, and mindful breathing exercises. It wasn't immediate. Healing rarely is. But slowly, the sharpness faded. Sleep, once broken into fragments, returned in longer, deeper waves that cradled her into true rest. Gloria learned an essential truth. Pain isn't simply an enemy to fight, it's a messenger to listen to, a guide toward compassion and adaptation. She realized that waking at 3 a.m. wasn't weakness. It was her body's soft cry for acknowledgement, asking her not for battle, but for gentle, unwavering kindness. Sometimes, what awakens us at 3 a.m. isn't fear. It's the body's whisper for care and the beginning of healing. Your body speaks in ways science is only beginning to understand. If you felt the 3 a.m. pull, you're not alone. Subscribe for more timeless stories of health and healing. Share your own 3 a.m. experience in the comments below. Sign 6. Emotional loneliness at night, Samuel's quiet solitude. Samuel, 80, woke each night at 3:05 a.m., not with pain or thirst, but with a heavy stillness that pressed against his chest. The house was silent, save for the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional settling creak of old wood. It wasn't fear. It wasn't hunger. It was a deep, wordless loneliness. Loneliness intensifies at night when distractions fade and the mind quietly turns inward. Scientific studies reveal that social isolation not only increases the risk of depression and dementia, but also gently erodes physical health, raising inflammation, impairing immune function, and shortening lifespan. Dr. Ellis recognized the hollow look in Samuel's eyes. It wasn't just sleeplessness, it was separation. Samuel wasn't missing sleep, he was missing connection. Small changes created quiet miracles. A morning call from his daughter. Afternoons spent in a local book club. Short, heartfelt conversations with neighbors who once were strangers. These weren't grand gestures. They were threads delicate yet strong that slowly rewove the fabric of Samuel's days. And at night, when the clock blinked 3:05 a.m., he found himself breathing a little easier, comforted by the gentle presence of remembered voices and shared laughter. Loneliness doesn't scream, it whispers. And sometimes, healing begins simply by reaching back into the quiet with an open hand. Sign 7. Poor sleep environment, light, noise, temperature. Irene's subtle disturbances. Irene, 75, woke at 3 a.m. most nights, her mind alert, her body restless. She couldn't explain it. There were no bad dreams, no aches or hunger, just a soft disquiet that pulled her from sleep's embrace. Dr. Ellis suggested a simple but profound shift. Sometimes the body isn't restless from within, but from the world around it. Aging heightens sensitivity. Tiny disruptions like the faint glow from a streetlight, the hum of distant traffic, or a slight shift in bedroom temperature can nudge the body awake at its most vulnerable hour. Irene began to pay gentle attention. She replaced her curtains with blackout drapes. She added a quiet white noise machine to mask sudden sounds. She adjusted her thermostat to keep the room cool and steady. The changes were almost imperceptible at first. But slowly, the 3 a.m. awakings faded. Sleep deepened into rich, uninterrupted streams, carrying her through the night like a calm, quiet river. Sometimes, what wakes us isn't stress or illness. Sometimes, it's the environment gently whispering that comfort is missing. And sometimes, healing simply means listening and adjusting with kindness. Final reflection. Listening to the silent hours. At 3 a.m., the world softens into stillness. The noise fades. The busy demands of life hush. And what remains is often what we need most to hear. Your body isn't betraying you with these quiet awakenings. It's reaching out, asking for hydration, for nourishment, for connection, for peace. Sometimes it's asking for simple kindness. And sometimes it's simply reminding you that you're still beautifully, powerfully alive. Aging isn't a slow vanishing. It's a different kind of awakening, a call to listen closer, live softer, and honor what your body gently reveals. If you found a part of your own story woven into these hours, don't let it drift away. Share this video with someone who wakes with questions too. Subscribe for more timeless insights and reflections. And tell us, which silent sign spoke loudest to your heart tonight?